Good afternoon. One person is fighting for their life following a shooting at Fairview Mall.
An investigation is ongoing, but details on just what happened remained scarce. CTV's Janice Golding has been following this investigation. She joins us live now from the scene with the latest. What can you tell us, Janice?
Hi, Michelle. I can tell you that this is still very much an active investigation. The main entrance to the mall remains closed after a man was critically injured during a shooting that took place here just as the mall was opening. Now, you're going to be looking at some security video, or rather some video captured by a person who was in the mall at the time but didn't want to appear on camera. He told CTV News he was about 30 meters away when he heard a shot ring out. When he ran to see what happened, he says he saw a man lying on the floor outside the Michael Hill jewelry store. Security and other mall workers immediately ran to assist the victim. We don't know who the man is at this point. Some telling us they believe he was a security guard who was trying to prevent a robbery. However, we don't have that confirmed. Paramedics tell us they were called just after 10 a.m. and when they arrived on scene, they found the shooting victim with life-threatening injuries. The man was rushed to a trauma center. Here's more from witnesses.
Heard the big bang the minute I opened the door. It was a big bang. And then we went to see what it was, and then apparently they shot, somebody was shot. And then the police were running, and an ambulance came, and then they closed the part of the mall.
I just saw security guards running towards that, and I heard one gunshot and then chaos. That's all about it. And then when I stepped out, they had blocked off everything, but I do believe someone was shot.
I saw the guy, he was laying on the floor. And there was two other ladies. The other one was trembling. She couldn't talk. Yeah, she was very frightened. And I think the guy was trying to get into Michael Hill's, and the other guy tried to stop him, and he shot him right towards his rib, I guess.
Now, the suspect fled the scene on foot. Police are in the midst of collecting security as well as other evidence, security video, I should say, and as well as other evidence. Of course, they would like to hear from anyone who may have seen something this morning or captured video of their own. That's it from us here at Fairview Mall. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. Two homes were shot at in Brampton this morning. Police were called to the Peter Robertson and Hickory Bush Avenue area just after 3:30 in the morning. That's near Dixie and Beauvert. Two homes were hit by bullets. Nobody was hurt. Police believe the shooting was targeted, but have not provided any information on possible suspects.
Peel police were investigating 3 overnight tow truck fires in Brampton. Emergency crews called to Legend Lane near Beauvert and McLaughlin just after 1:30 a.m. for reports of a tow truck parked on the street on fire. The flames were extinguished and no injuries were reported. Now, about 15 minutes earlier, 2 tow trucks were also set on fire on Cassenway Road near Countryside Drive and Airport Road. One was found in the driveway of a home while the other was parked on the street. No injuries were reported in these incidents. And fire crews put out flames after a tow truck parked on Worthington Avenue was set on fire. The blaze was contained and did not extend to any homes or other vehicles. Police say these fires are suspicious, but they have not indicated if they are connected.
And police are investigating after a baby found unresponsive in the back of a vehicle died in hospital. Emergency crews were called to the Queen and Burtmount area just before 5 yesterday afternoon. Police say the child was rushed to hospital, but was later pronounced dead. Investigators say the child's parents did attend the hospital. An investigation is ongoing.
Durham police are investigating a serious crash in Whitby. Police were called to Lake Ridge and Dundas around 6:30 a.m. for reports of a collision. 2 vehicles colliding at the intersection. Police have not provided any information about possible injuries or what may have caused this crash.
A man convicted of 2 random murders in 2022 is set to be sentenced today. Richard Edwin was found guilty in the deaths of 21-year-old Kartiv Vasudev and 35-year-old Elijah Mahapath, who were killed 2 days apart in April of 2022. Police say both of the shootings were random. Victim impact statements are set to be read in court ahead of Edwin's sentencing. First-degree murder carries an automatic sentence of life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. Still to come, the Prime Minister released a list of people who will help the government prepare for upcoming trade talks with the U.S. We'll have those details a little later in the newscast.
The head of CUPE Ontario is on leave amid an investigation into workplace climate allegations. CUPE Ontario says President Fred Hahn will be on paid leave for the length of this investigation. The union, which represents more than 300,000 workers, says an independent investigation began after allegations were made by a staff member. No other details about the allegations have been released. CUPE Ontario says Hahn supports this investigation and it will not comment further until it is complete.
Destination Toronto released a 10-year master plan to attract more tourists to the city.
It's a decade-long plan, right? So there's going to be some things that are already underway that the plan captures. For example, we talk about the Waterfront East LRT. That's already funded, and so it's a matter of getting focused on ensuring it's built as quickly as possible. But there are, of course, other things where, as the different levels of government, as different organizations come together, and the private sector as well, say, hey, these are investments that we want to make because it's going to lead to the opportunity for us to really grow the economic impact of tourism across the city.
The plan comes after a record-breaking year for tourism in the city. 28 million people visited Toronto in 2025, spending $9 billion. The plan focuses on 5 points: safety, connecting people with the broader region, increasing competitiveness to host major events, developing new attractions, and bringing together partners and resources. The Raptors are returning to Toronto down 2-0 in their first-round playoff series against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
The team will have a couple of days off now to prepare for Game 3 on Thursday. CTV's Mike Walker has been speaking with fans about the series and joins us now with more. Not how we would have liked it to start, but there's more games left.
Yeah, fans are hopeful the Raptors can turn this around. There's a tailgate party happening right now in Jurassic Park for MLSE employees, and we know on Thursday night for Game 3, the atmosphere here will be electric. Fans knew this matchup with Cleveland would be a tough one, but they were expecting a much better performance from the Raptors in the first 2 games, and now say Game 3 is a must-win. Now, Toronto's offense struggled throughout Game 2, not leading at any point in the game. The Raptors' lead scorer, Brandon Ingram, was also cold. He didn't record a point in the first half, finishing the game with just 7 points. The Raptors also committed a season-high 22 turnovers. Here's more from hopeful fans that are expecting the Raptors to turn it around on home court and are expecting a better performance from Ingram in Game 3.
I think Cleveland, if we win 1, I think Cleveland still wins in 5. Because if they take 1 game at home, we can't win at Cleveland. Yeah. I don't think so. I think the fans play a big role into it, and Cleveland's team is just they're better well oriented than us. Honestly, Brandon Ingram yesterday had a bad game.
Honestly, Brandon Ingram needs to step up. Simple as that. You can't. He's talking about taking 9 shots. They're not winning a game with 9 shots, but he's only scoring 7 points in a game. Ridiculous. Yeah. He needs to score. He needs to get the ball, and he needs to score.
BI needs to lock in. I think he's getting nervous in the playoffs, but I think 3rd game he's going to lock it, and he got the squad.
Now, historically, Cleveland has won 12 straight playoff games against the Raptors, who now have a couple of days to regroup, re-strategize as they look to cut the deficit in half on home court Thursday night. Reporting live from Mike Walker. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Well, hopefully there are brighter days ahead for our Raptors, and we've got a decent day ahead with sunshine this hour, and it definitely feels warmer than it did yesterday, but we're not fully out of the woods. Lindsay Morrison is here with the current conditions, and there is the potential for unsettled weather.
There is, Michelle, but it's likely not to impact us greatly here in the GTA, at least not in the short range. But you're right. Already this hour, it is warmer in Toronto than it got at any point yesterday. 8 degrees this hour at Pearson Airport, 13 in Windsor, 10 in Niagara Falls and Hamilton. You'll still find it a little cool this hour in places like Bancroft as well as Kingston. And you might find it a little cooler today the closer you get to the shoreline of Lake Ontario. For example, it's only 5 degrees right now in Ajax. We have a southerly wind today. That's a big difference compared to yesterday. A little breezy as well. Yesterday's winds were coming out of the northwest. And in some cases, there were a couple of stray flurries this morning. But for the most part, across and around the Golden Horseshoe, we are enjoying a lovely mix of sun and cloud, and we're forecasting a daytime high of 11 degrees, still on the cooler side of seasonal, but again, not bad at all. We'll take you through the forecast for the rest of the week and give you an idea when we do have that chance of showers returning. But for now, Michelle, it's back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Prime Minister Mark Carney has commented on the mass shooting outside Mexico City that killed a Canadian tourist.
Our hearts go out to the family and friends of the individual who was tragically killed. It's a terrible circumstance. I very much appreciate President Sheinbaum's personal attention to the matter, and we're working with Mexican authorities on the situation, but it's a sad day.
A Canadian woman was killed and at least 13 other people were injured yesterday when a man opened fire from atop a historic pyramid near Mexico City. The suspect later took his own life. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister spoke with her Mexican counterpart this morning.
He committed to undertaking an investigation into the death of a Canadian citizen on Mexican soil. We will remain in contact over the coming days, and I want to assure Canadians that our consular officials are on the ground assisting the remaining victims, and in particular the Canadians who are in Mexico. Of course, I express my own condolences to the family of the victim.
Our solidarity
los familiares de la
persona que perdió la vida, the family of the person who passed away, and to everyone who is being assisted at hospitals and who lived through this situation yesterday. Our obligation is always to share the information that we have and to continue informing the Mexican people and, of course, the media.
When the first gunshot happened, we thought it was firecrackers, and somebody asked, I think it was Mary, said, "Was that gunfire?" And the vendor actually said, "Yes, it is," and run. And our tour guide kind of pushed us. We all ran, some of us faster than others, and we got out of there.
A 29-year-old Canadian was among the 13 people taken to hospital. Mexican authorities say the attack was not spontaneous, and they are investigating the motive.
And the Prime Minister released a list of people who will help the government prepare for upcoming talks with the U.S. about the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement.
I'm very pleased to have that group. It's a diverse group, leaders from the union movement, experts in industry, and CEOs in finance and across the economy.
The group includes former Conservative leaders Erin O'Toole and Jean Charest, former Conservative interim leader Lisa Raitt, former Liberal Cabinet Minister Ralph Goodale, and former Nunavut Premier PJ Aki Agok. It also includes trade and union representatives like Flavio Volpe and Lana Payne. The new group will be chaired by Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominique LeBlanc. Meanwhile, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says having people like Erin O'Toole on the council is good, but says the Prime Minister needs to tell Canadians how he plans to negotiate with the U.S.
Has Mr. Carney even stated whether he wants to renew USMCA at all? He said yesterday trade with the U.S. is a big, or in his video, he said trade with the U.S. is a big weakness. So does that mean that he wants to end USMCA? If he wants it renegotiated, does he want a full overhaul? A few tweaks? What are his demands? Has he waved the white flag on getting rid of the tariffs on aluminum, steel, autos, and lumber? Or is he still fighting that fight? Does anybody know what Mark Carney's plan is?
And for more, we're joined live in Ottawa by CTV's Rachel Aiello. Rachel, this team, it does sound well-rounded.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a clear indication that the Prime Minister is looking to get more advice from the financial and economic sectors, as well as the tariff-impacted sectors, when he's going into these trade talks with the United States. Of course, there's been a bit of an easing off and a focus, switching from trying to get the tariffs off to now the position Canada finds itself in trying to renegotiate broadly the trilateral trade deal. So I think that is indicative of some of the names who the Prime Minister has added to this advisory council. So I'm thinking of folks like the President of the Aluminum Association of Canada, the Canadian National Railway, ArcelorMittal Dofasco, one of those big metal players in this country, TransCanada, the leading Chief Executive Officer of Tech. We've got a couple representatives from the agriculture and agri-food sector, specifically around dairy and supply management, which we know that the U.S. has indicated is an ongoing irritant with Canada. We've got Forest Products Association. So really it sounds like the Prime Minister is wanting to have that cadre of industry association representatives right right on hand. So as these negotiations go forward, he has them to touch base with, to rely on, and to have that quick go-between to get a sense of how certain things could go over with their sector as these negotiations play out.
And what role will they play, this group, in Canada-U.S. trade talks?
So my indication is that, of course, Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is going to remain at the forefront of these. The Prime Minister has also appointed Janice Golding to take another leading role in advising on the negotiations. But it sounds like this is going to be a broader panel of folks who can be relied on for their industry or regional specific expertise, as well as you rightly noted off the top, some different partisan stripes within this mix as well. Here's a bit more from Minister LeBlanc in describing how he sees this role for the group.
This will be a forum for the Government of Canada to hear directly from business leaders, elected union leaders, and community leaders. I think it'll help our negotiations, and it'll help the Government of Canada be informed in terms of these different perspectives.
And so LeBlanc has also indicated that he's been speaking with some of these folks already, and they're going to have their first official meeting of this new advisory council next week on April 27th.
Now, Rachel, do we know what specific goals the government is trying to achieve?
So it sounds like, based on the folks they have here, they are wanting to lean into the areas where Canada-U.S. economic ties are strong, trying to find ways to advance the relationship from a business perspective, probably trying to tap into Donald Trump's kind of MO in that respect, less so wanting to get into some of the more hot-button issues, perhaps. But I think it's also an indication that the government is getting the sense that talks are going to start ramping up. We've heard from U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer indicating Mexico may actually be further along in their negotiation on one-off trade irritants between the U.S. and Mexico. Canada still has a lot of work to do to clear that path, to get a sense of whether we could get to that July 1st deadline with an agreement. So it sounds like the federal government is wanting to hear from these folks to get a sense of what they could put on the table, what they couldn't, really what the state of play is going to be in trying to make the best economic case to Trump for keeping CUSMA alive.
All right, CTV's Rachel Aiello in Ottawa. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, Canada's military is reporting a major boost in its ranks, hitting a 30-year recruitment high.
However, that still falls short of what's needed to address staffing shortages. CTV's Mike Lecouteur explains.
7,310 new members were welcomed into the Canadian Armed Forces last year. The minister credits a newfound nationalism among recruits as the country faces threats from U.S. President Donald Trump of being made the 51st state.
They're very committed to this country. They want to see Canada remain secure and sovereign.
The McGuinty added the 20% wage increase for soldiers announced by the Liberal government helps, as do other investments.
They're also seeing on the ground a concomitant investment in material, in new housing, in kit.
Despite the spike in enrollments, the military still remains understaffed by a few thousand troops. Add to that an attrition rate of 8.5%, which makes it more difficult to hit the goal of 71,500 troops by the year 2029. Retention is another obstacle.
The size of the military is increasing, but the size of trained soldiers is decreasing because the training system is not able to catch up with the pace.
The Conservatives lay all the blame on the Liberals, saying it's a symptom of the last decade of neglect on military spending.
Out of the 97 occupations that are in the Canadian Armed Forces, 27 of them are still at critical levels, that they may not even be able to fill those positions over the next 25 years.
The defense minister wasn't as forthcoming with answers when asked about the lack of progress on the purchase of new submarines and fighter jets. But there is a sense the government wants more industrial benefits for Canada out of those multi-billion-dollar deals. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Turning to the war in the Middle East, U.S. President Donald Trump says he does not want to extend the ceasefire with Iran ahead of potential second round of talks aimed at ending the war.
I don't want to do that. We don't have that much time because by the time both parties get there, as you know, they just got the okay to go forward, which I knew they were going to do anyway. I mean, I don't think they had a choice. They have to negotiate.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and other top officials are expected to leave for Pakistan today ahead of the second round of negotiations. The Associated Press is reporting that both countries have signaled they are set to return to Pakistan for talks. However, there's no word on specific timing for the negotiations. However, the U.S. delegation and Iran's top negotiators are expected to arrive in Islamabad tomorrow. Meanwhile, U.S. forces boarded an oil tanker that had been sanctioned for smuggling Iranian crude oil in the Indian Ocean today. The Pentagon says U.S. forces boarded the vessel without incident. The U.S. has tried to limit the movements of any vessel tied to Iran or suspected of carrying supplies that could help that country's government.
Today would have been Queen Elizabeth II's 100th birthday. Her son, King Charles, released a video message about his mother to mark the occasion.
Queen Elizabeth's promise with destiny kept shaped the world around her and touched the lives of countless people across our nation, the Commonwealth, and beyond. Her near century was one of remarkable change, and yet, through each passing decade, through every transformation, she remained constant, steadfast, and wholly devoted to the people she served.
The Queen was born on April 21st, 1926. She took the throne in 1952 and was the UK's longest reigning monarch until her death in 2022 at the age of 96.
Well, it was another chilly start to our day today. Our temperature dipped below freezing overnight last night. Let's take a look at the almanac. I want to show you the fact that our daytime high on average should be close to about 14 degrees now at this point in the month of April. And today we're closer to that. 11 is what we're forecasting for a daytime high, maybe 15 degrees today in London, a little cooler for areas north and east of here. Here's tonight at a glance. The evening looks lovely with a mix of sun and cloud. Overnight, once again, we will be close to freezing, but staying slightly warmer than. We're going to take a look at what looks to now be the warmest day of the week. In your 7-day forecast, those details are after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Let's talk about the forecast. We got some sunshine. We're going to get into double-digit territory, and this is a good sign.
Yes, I think it's an improvement, and I'm really eyeing kind of middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, for the bright sunshine and more comfortable temperatures. Because is this a bit cool, what we've been experiencing for this time of year?
It certainly is. I mean, yesterday was well below seasonal. Today, an improvement, but still cooler than normal. I think you're going to like tomorrow, and I think you're going to like Thursday. After that, temperatures dip slightly ahead of the weekend, and then it looks as though our next round of expected wet weather, at least a guaranteed round of rain, looks to come just in time for the weekend. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. Where they do not need more rain, of course, is in parts of Muskoka. And really, there's been so many areas in Ontario impacted by flooding recently. But I want to take you back to the Lake Muskoka area, the Muskoka River. We've talked about this before. Many are familiar with Santa's Village. Unfortunately, that amusement park is still being impacted by spring flooding. And so, too, are many people who live here year-round. Seasonal cottage goers are struggling to keep their docks above water, their boathouses, too. So the District of Muskoka reminding folks that there are things they can do to protect their property, move any valuables to higher land. Sandbagging is available in many different areas as well if you perhaps need some of those. And of course, knowing how to turn off the electricity safely, that's a good thing to be able to do as well. It is 6 degrees right now in Muskoka, but look at Wyerton, almost double the temperature. It's 11 degrees right now. We're starting to see some warmer air move in from the west, and today is a pretty nice day with an afternoon high of 11 degrees. Tonight, we fall to about +3. for an overnight low, slightly cooler than normal as well. Here's tomorrow at a glance. 15 degrees. This looks pretty nice. Again, average temperature this time of year is 14, and we will enjoy a nice mix of sun and cloud, although tomorrow there will be a bit of an easterly wind, which isn't always the most comfortable, but these temperatures don't seem to be all that influenced by that. 15 degrees tomorrow in Aurora, 14 for you in Collingwood. Of course, the ski season has now come to an end, and a nice mix of sun and cloud for you in and around Uxbridge. A look at the satellite and radar shows a couple of scattered showers in places, a couple of wet snowflakes in areas early this morning too, but nothing all that significant. We're pretty quiet on the active weather front this week, which again is, I think, welcomed by so many. I'm going to set the forecast radar in motion here, and I do want to show you Windsor to Hamilton. There is a chance of a few showers, maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder as we make our way into the evening hours tonight. Should miss us in most parts of the GTA. And then again, Wednesday is a dry day, back to seasonal. Thursday is looking sunny and quite pleasant temperature-wise as well. We're going to start to see the chance of a few showers return as we make our way into Friday. Daytime high, we go from about 15 degrees on Thursday back to around 10 for a high on Friday. And then Saturday is an unsettled day, a little cool again. Cloudy skies, chance of showers throughout the day, perhaps an additional 5 to 10 millimeters of rain. But look at that, Sunday looks lovely again. 15 for the high, mix of sun and cloud, and hopefully that drier weather is going to hold on as we make our way into the early part of next week. That's your look at the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Drake's been promoting his upcoming album across the city in recent days, and his latest publicity stunt prompted a police response.
Large crowds turned out to take in a large ice sculpture in the hopes of learning more about the Toronto rapper's upcoming album release. CTV's Jessica Smith has been following this story. She joins us live now with more in front of this ice sculpture. Jess.
Well, Champagne Papi, a.k.a. Drake, has caused quite the commotion here in the city of Toronto, all to promote his new album. Posting to social media yesterday that this massive ice structure was here, and the caption just said release date inside 81 Bond Street, downtown Toronto. Now, as you mentioned, according to Toronto Police, 3 different divisions were called to do some crowd control last night around 12:30 after hundreds of people showed up to view and climb the massive structure. People were attempting to chip away at the ice or melt the ice, but there are now barricades up around the structure. The rapper said on Instagram, again, the release date for the next album, Iceman, is buried deep within the structure located here near Sankofa Square. Now, Drake does seem to love sticking to a theme. At the last Raptors game before their playoff tilt against Cleveland, he had 2 of his courtside seats covered in what looked like ice. And off of his More Life album, he's got the track Ice Melts. And that's what everyone's hoping is going to happen here today. Now, he was also on a live stream recently featuring a local Toronto ice company called Iceman with a truck loaded up with blocks of ice. People are still flocking to the structure. There are hundreds of people here. I've been talking to some folks. If you guys want to come in, I want to ask your opinion. What do you think about all this? Because hundreds of people have been lining up trying to figure out what's going on.
Crazy.
It's crazy. What do you think?
I think it's awesome, and it's really cool that we get to see this and that it's here.
So it's going to take a while for ice to melt, but what do you think is going to happen?
Drake is going to pop out.
I mean, he could pop out. I want to ask you guys been here for a little while. Talk to me about the excitement, because you're seeing hundreds of people here. There's hundreds of blocks of ice. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a very big one, you know. I'm astonished, and I think it's a great concept. And as a matter of fact, Toronto is an ice city, and we are all Icemen. And I love to see this because it blows my mind away. And this is truly who we are. Toronto, Ice City, Iceman, Drake, the best. Thank you.
And you know what? I was speaking to some of this private security that are here, and they're saying that in a few minutes they're going to actually open up the barricades again. We just found that out moments ago, so they're going to let people a little bit closer inside again. We're all still trying to figure out exactly what's going on, when the ice is going to melt. People on social media are saying maybe 3 days, maybe a week. We're going to have to wait to see when the ice melts. Reporting live, I'm Jessica Smith. I'll send things back inside to the studio.
All right. Thank you, Jess. Well, it seems the Blue Jays offense is getting back on track, and they hope to continue that trend against the LA Angels tonight.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets it in the air, and it is gone.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit his second homer of the season as the Jays beat the Angels 5-2. Lefty Patrick Corbin scheduled to start for the Jays. First pitch for tonight's game is set for just after 9:30 in Los Angeles.
The Scepters will be looking to secure a playoff spot in their final home game of the regular season tonight.
And they score! Savannah Harmon, right as the power play was beginning.
The team won 2-0 over the Minnesota Frost on Sunday. The Scepters currently sit 2 points behind the Ottawa Charge for the final playoff spot tonight. They'll play the New York Sirens at Coca-Cola Coliseum. The Scepters will wrap up the regular season against the Charge in Ottawa Saturday.
Still to come, dealing with the fallout from false health information. A new report finds Canadian doctors are dealing more and more with misinformation patients are finding online. Those details when we come back.
Johnny Schwarma has been serving a budget-friendly and delicious shawarma since 1995. Slow-roasted chicken and beef spits fill the air with irresistible aroma. Come with me as we check out what's on the menu at Johnny's. All right, here we are at Johnny Schwarma. This is such a cool place.
Yes, sir.
You've been here a long time.
We have been.
What's the vibe like here? Why do people keep coming back to Johnny's?
Well, we're a family-run restaurant. We've been here for 26 years. I know our main thing is giving people a good experience here. They come, we chat to them, have a good time with them, speak to them like, they're human beings, they're people, they're our friends, our customers. We have a good time, connect with them, make them delicious food. We have a Lebanese twist on it, right? There's a lot of different shawarmas, but they're different cultures. None of them are bad or worse in any way. Ours is Lebanese, and we're unique in that way.
Yours is the best. Come on. This is something new, these tacos?
Yes, very new. We've got shawarma tacos.
Wow.
This is something new that we came up with, exclusive only at Johnny's. You can get them. Yeah? Good.
Sweet and savory. Really,
Yes.
really nice.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Good?
Wow.
Good.
That's really good.
And then these are our fries, fresh cut every day.
That's why people come to Johnny Schwarma. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that, Ralph.
Of course, man. Thank you so much.
Johnny! Don't miss the city's legendary shawarma. Juicy, perfectly spiced, healthy, and proof the best bites don't have to cost a fortune. Full details at cp24.com.
A new report finds Canadian doctors are increasingly dealing with the fallout from false health information their patients are finding online. A new survey by the Canadian Medical Association finds 97% of responding doctors have had to intervene to prevent harm or address consequences in patients who followed false or misleading online health information. The president of the CMA says Canadians are turning to online information because it's widely available and because of the shortage of healthcare providers across the country. The Ottawa Hospital is using a powerful new tool to help treat cancer patients.
It's called the Pink Drink and allows surgeons to remove larger cancerous tumors. CTV's Sean Varden explains.
The Ottawa Hospital has a new tool giving surgeons an upper hand in the fight against cancer.
It's known as 5-ALA, and it's a drug that is ingested, so it is taken orally in patients about 4 hours before surgery.
Dubbed the Pink Drink, it's now coloring doctors and patients with more hope. Once taken, the drink metabolizes and turns certain cancerous tissue a fluorescent pink. It means the bad tissue is highlighted for surgeons who use a special microscope and blue filter.
That tells us where the tumor is and allows us to take out much more tumor than we would normally be able to. It tells us where the tumor is, and more importantly, it tells us where tumor isn't.
I was very pleased that it lit up the cancerous cells and that they were able to cut out all the tumor and some of the meat around it to ensure that they got all the cancer out of my spine.
For Jody Stang, the Pink Drink made a better outcome, with doctors having a clear roadmap on what to remove, limiting neurological damage. But if you're wondering how it tastes,
I must say it was the most horrible drink that I've ever had in my life. But then a few hours later, they wheeled me down to go to surgery.
the Ottawa Hospital investing big money to give patients a better chance. And while Jody's surgery allowed for precision in his back, doctors are impressed by the level of precision it can have while operating on the brain. Glioblastoma is one of the deadliest brain cancers, and Dr. Mohammed believes his liquid will improve the quality of outcomes.
The Pink Drink is one of those things that allows us to give patients more hope when they perceive no hope, and that is important.
Sean Varden, CTV News.
The popular weight loss drug Wegovy is not currently covered under Quebec's public drug insurance plan.
The province's Health Research Institute says the costs are too high and the benefits of the drug are uncertain. However, doctors are hoping that stance could change. CTV's Matt Gilmore reports.
You may have seen the ads asking you to ask your doctor about Wegovy.
So Ozempic and Wegovy are the same medication, just prescribed at different doses for different reasons. So Ozempic is prescribed for diabetes, Wegovy is prescribed for weight loss.
Cardiologist Dr. Christopher Labos says there are medical benefits to treating obesity beyond cosmetic reasons.
It leads to complications, diabetes, high blood pressure, and increases the risk of heart disease and cancer. The reason we treat obesity is to prevent cardiovascular events.
But in two recent evaluations of Wegovy, Quebec's Health Research Institute, INES, recommended the government not reimburse the drug under its public insurance plan, writing, given its modest efficacy, safety concerns, its disproportionate cost relative to the clinical benefits it provides, and its excessive budgetary impact, the members consider that reimbursing Wegovy for the secondary prevention of cardiovascular events is not a responsible, fair, or equitable decision. The drug does come with side effects like nausea, vomiting, and bloating, but Labos says they usually go away for most patients. As for the cost, Ines estimates it would be close to $1 billion over 5 years, jeopardizing the sustainability of the entire public insurance plan.
If you're going to exclude them on a cost-benefit ratio because of the cost, that's a point of view, but I think we're going to be having a very different conversation about these medications a year from now.
That's because the maker of Wegovy allowed its patent to expire in Canada in January, and generics could soon start flooding the market, bringing down the price.
Maybe the risk-benefit calculation is going to change in their minds, but from a purely medical scientific standpoint, if you want scientific studies showing that there's a cardiovascular benefit to these medications, it's there. It's been published. I've written about it extensively.
Quebec's health ministry has postponed making a final decision on the drug. Ines says the price would have to come down around 70 to 80% for it to be cost-effective. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Well, a bit of breaking news to share with you this hour. The ice sculpture situation is heating up. We're joined live once again by CTV's Jessica Smith. What's happening there, Jess?
So, Michelle, they let us inside. They opened up the barricades minutes ago, and hundreds of people have kind of flocked inside. You can kind of see behind me here that they're taking photos with the structure, and everyone's really getting hyped. Now, we still don't know what kind of information about what they're going to do with all of this, but it's exciting to let people inside to get their own kind of take as to what's going on. You have people, again, from all over. We've met people from all over the world who are here to kind of see what this is all about when it comes to this ice structure. Again, he posted on social media last night that this is here. The release date's inside. 81 Bond Street downtown. We'll see if the ice melts. But Michelle, it's exciting to be this close to this massive structure of all of this ice.
Yeah, what an ice cold concept. People seem to love it. We appreciate the update. Can't wait to see what happens with it. Now, still to come on CTV News at noon, a local group wants to bring a planetarium back to our city. We'll have those details when we return.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Apple says John Turnus will be taking over from Tim Cook when the Apple CEO steps down in September. Turnus joined Apple in 2001 and has played a key role in reigniting sales of Apple's Mac computers, which have gained market share against PCs. At 50, Turnus is the same age Cook was when he took over CEO duties from Apple co-founder Steve Jobs. Apple says Cook will become the company's executive chairman.
The successful Artemis II mission has reignited an interest in space exploration, and a Toronto-based group wants to capitalize on that by creating a new planetarium.
It's an immersive place where you can feel like you're lying in a field, looking at the night sky, or nowadays with digital technology, flying around the moon. I mean, it's just an incredible experience. And it's not something it's easy to describe, and it's hard to replicate. So how we would get one going is, first of all, we know that there are a lot of people who are really interested in it. So we created Space Place Canada for people to join. You can actually join our organization and help us advocate for this thing. We need a place to put this thing, and we need people to help us pay for it.
Space Place Canada is working to bring a planetarium back to Toronto. The charity organization is made up of a multidisciplinary group of professionals. They say the development would support tourism and education across the GTHA. Toronto has been without a public planetarium since 1995.
A young robotics team from Calgary is preparing to take on the world in Texas.
It's the third time they've qualified for this major competition. CTV's Kevin Fleming has the details.
At 14 years old, this will be Mahi Kant's third time heading to the World event in Houston. She's the secondary driver for First Tech Challenge FTC 10015 Hyperdroid, but everyone on the team has multiple roles.
And I think that I've learned a lot of different skills I wouldn't have just learned by sitting in a classroom or just from a teacher.
The team has 8 members in grades 7 to 12 from all over the city, and they meet twice a week to design, build, and program their robot.
Every year we always see lots of super different, interesting designs. So this year we kind of have a unique robot that has a different sorting mechanism compared to some other teams.
For the FTC Robotics World Championships, the robot has to collect and then launch balls into a target in a limited amount of time. One of the biggest challenges teams face is reliability of their machine.
It's kind of like F1 or whatever. You don't win the race by just starting the race. You have to finish the race as well. So keeping the robot working by replacing stuff if it gets broken, or ideally designing it so that it doesn't get broken in the first place.
Carter Shaw is 17 and one of the oldest members. He joined to learn as much as he could about every aspect of robots. Now he's looking at post-secondary options.
I've already been accepted into SATE for their mechanical engineering technologist, and then I'm going to do the transfer program to get the degree, and then I want to go work for a visual effects company like animatronics, preferably like Disney.
Mike Warren is the head coach and says while the team is made up of 8 students and 3 mentors, he's always recruiting.
I think it's a great opportunity for all kinds of students, whether they have those skills right now or not. I personally recruit for passion, right? If you're passionate about robots.
Last year, the team finished 8th in their division and hope to do even better this year. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
Coming up, keeping the beat going for 150 years. We'll have more on a major milestone for the Kitchener Musical Society Band when we return. More than 150 years of music. The Kitchener Musical Society Band is marking a major milestone.
CTV's Colton Weens has more on the group's history and their plans for the future.
Ron Bear has been a Kitchener Musical Society band member for 54 years. One of the longest active members, he says it's an honor to be just a small piece of the band's now 150 years.
It's actually amazing. I've enjoyed it ever since I was 14 when I first started, and I keep on going, right?
Teachers, doctors, farmers, moms and dads. It's amazing. And the fact that we've been around for 150 years is astounding.
The Kitchener Musical Society Band traces its official existence to 1876, where it once performed turn-of-the-century military marches.
Which I recall when I was first starting with the band. We stopped doing that many, many years ago now. Definitely don't miss the Santa Claus parades in November when it's freezing cold out.
1, 2, 3, and...
Now, they're more of a concert band that plays a little bit of everything.
I've been a part of this band for almost 20 years, and I love community music making.
We all just love playing music, and it's great to play live music.
According to Tominski, who's been in the band for 45 years, the Kitchener Musical Society is the oldest non-military concert band in Canada.
We played for royalty at one time. So we've been everywhere and anywhere.
The band is made up of 60 dedicated woodwind, reed, brass, and percussion players who gather weekly to hone their skills and to keep the 150-year history alive. All members are volunteers, and they're always looking for any new members with at least high school level playing experience.
If you play an instrument, come on out and join us. It's a wonderful thing to make music.
And this being the 150th year, they've planned a celebration concert for June and even commissioned a song that they will perform as part of the celebration.
Debut our commissioned piece of music that we had Robert Buckley write for us. Robert Buckley obviously is a very famous Canadian composer. So it'll be the world premiere of his music.
It tells the story of a spark of creativity and community joy to bring us all together.
And to celebrate 150 years, the band is holding a free concert at the museum in downtown Kitchener on Sunday, June 14th. Tickets can be found on the museum's website. Colton Ween, CTV News, Kitchener.
Great story, and the beat goes on.
Back here in Toronto, we've been talking this hour about Drake's ice sculpture and, you know, how long it might take for it to melt. Do we have any temperatures that could melt this sucker?
Well, I mean, technically any temperature above freezing, which we have, will eventually melt that ice, and we are going to warm up as this week goes on. So let's cross our fingers that sooner rather than later we can see what's hiding there. Here's one more look at what's going on the satellite and radar. You know what will help? Sunshine, and we've got a lot of that today and tomorrow. Mix of sun and cloud through the day. Waking up, yes, it's cool once again, but daytime highs are near normal into tomorrow. Seasonal highs of about 15 degrees. We'll take that. That's your Wednesday forecast. And then here's the rest of the week. So we don't really cool down again until about Friday. And then Saturday is cool and a bit unsettled. So rain might help melt some ice too. We're looking at maybe 5 to 10 millimeters of it for Saturday, but your weekend as a whole is not a washout. Sunday looks fabulous. Mix of sun and cloud, and the temperature back up around seasonal. So yeah, let's see. Maybe we should start guessing when that ice block will fully melt. What do you say?
Saturday.
Okay.
I think it'll get chopped up before by just the fans.
All right, that is it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.